My new review will be another Star Trek review. The Star Trek reviews seem to be getting a bit more play, I noticed. I don't know if that's just a preference for Star Trek or just fatigue of Transformers in general, but I'm going to try to keep it balanced. So here we are with my, what was this been? Okay, my second Art Asylum Star Trek review. Doing one of my favorite ships, not one of my favorite Star Trek toys, but you'll see why in a moment. The Art Asylum Enterprise-E. Not much. See, I always hate the way I sound. But you know, you really can't say much about the starships. I go again. Lovely Star Trek model. Not Art Asylum's best. I think that would be reserved for the Enterprise-D that they released later, which I have, which I'll be doing a review on later. But definitely a worthy contender. This was the last one that Art Asylum did by themselves before they were taken over, but well, not taken over, before they joined up with Diamond Select or DST. And try to get that centered. And I think this is definitely a good effort. It's not one of their better efforts. I think the flaws are kind of overtly glaring, but you know, we'll get on with this. And there's actually a positive end to that anyway. Here's the Enterprise-E. The Enterprise-E first appeared in the movie Star Trek First Contact. It is a Sovereign-class starship. I'm not going to get into, like I said, I'm going to stay away from the show stuff, but I'll get to the behind the scenes. It was designed by production designer John Eves for Star Trek First Contact, and he basically, the idea that he came up with to design the Enterprise-E, because the Enterprise-E was destroyed in Star Trek Generations. The idea that he had was it was the Enterprise-D stretched out. He took all the basic components from the Enterprise-D and just kind of stretched it to give an idea, ooh, this is how I want my starship to look. His basic idea was that the ship should look fast, which this does, just sitting there. This damn thing looks like it's going at about, yeah, this thing looks like it's going at warp 10 just sitting where it is. And it does. It is a fast-looking ship, very sleek, very smooth. He wanted to have sort of a battleship appeal as opposed to an exploration ship appeal that the Enterprise-D did. Whether or not you like that, it's entirely up to opinion. I love the Enterprise-D. The moment you see it, when you first see it in Star Trek First Contact, I thought it was a sharp design. I love the aesthetics. It kind of looks vaguely like a descendant of the Excelsior class, the Enterprise-B that I just did. Not just did, but did a little while ago. And which is another one of my favorite designs. So they definitely one of my favorite designs. Definitely one of my favorite ships. Playmates did two versions of this. They did one for Star Trek First Contact that was, to put it mildly, atrocious. It is around here somewhere. I have both versions, but I don't particularly feel like digging them out. That First Contact version of the Enterprise-E was based on an early production design of the Enterprise-E that was done for Star Trek First Contact, and which hadn't been finalized, so the details were way off. The nacelles, well, first off, these impulse engines were not on that model. They were, this whole thing was one big impulse engine right here, and so these impulse engines were missing, and it's shocking. It's really, the fact that they let that toy get out, quality control was off for Playmates at that point, because these were, it's glaring. You can see these impulse engines, these big red impulse engines right here, really well in the movie, and they were not on that toy, and it's like, holy crap. So, yeah, so the quality control on that one, the saucer on that Playmates version, and they didn't even rectify this on the other one, is that the saucer had very thin, it kind of just tapers off here, as you can see. On the Playmates release, the saucer was at least a good 3 or 4 centimeters thick. It had a very thick edge to it, which the actual production model does not have. So that was, both sets were very disappointing. Even the later Insurrection release that they made was really disappointing, very disappointing toys. The moment that Art Asylum was blessed with the license, I was really excited because they had kind of that McFarlane Toys quality. You know, they wanted a quality sculpting in it. I was like, oh yes, cannot wait to see this. And all in all, the ships have been really, so far, pretty good. A couple minor complaints, but really the detailing has been great on all their ships. I think the Enterprise-E is no exception. Big thing with the Enterprise-E, as you can see here, is that it has kind of this overtly gray look to it, which probably isn't being picked up well on the camera. I'll try to get. Yeah, you can sort of see it. It looks kind of modeled there on that gray, on this gray section right here. That's supposed to represent the ship has kind of an Aztec pattern in the hull, and the idea for that is that they instead of molding it on, what they did with the Enterprise-A, or the refit Enterprise, was they had the Aztec pattern, but it was molded into the plastic. Now, some people had complained about that it should have been painted on. I thought the fact that it was molded in was great. The amount of detail in that was cool. I mean, just the sculpting, their sculpting work is unchallenged, if you ask me. And this one is no exception. Like I said, I know some people prefer to have the Aztec pattern molded in. This is a much bigger ship than the Enterprise-A in terms of screen accuracy, not so much toy accuracy. And that would have been really difficult, and I understand why they did it. And truth be told, I don't mind. I really think the paint job is well done. The lifeboat, these little. You can see the little. These things right here are lifeboats. They actually pop out of the ship. They're molded in. The phaser strips are molded in. A lot of molded in detail on this. The shuttle bay is all molded in. The big complaint with this one, and there's a couple complaints, and I'll get to those in a moment, is that the lights and sounds are not enough. The sounds are okay, but the lights on this aren't really all that well. I'll show you. Basically, there's a light bulb in here. There's basically the way I think it works is there's one. It's an LED, not a light bulb. Is in the saucer section, and it lights up for the impulse engines, the bridge lights, the deflector dish, and each nacelle. The Bussard collectors have 2 bulbs in the Bussard collectors. These things right here, and the nacelles themselves don't light up. Apparently, they didn't want to spend the extra money on the LEDs. I'm not going to complain. Like I said, all in all, the molding is okay. And truth be told, I don't use the light and sound gimmicks as much as a lot of other people. To rectify, I'll go into that in a second. The bottom has a nice amount of detail. And there's a little hole here that's, I think it's supposed to be like a reset point, but that's a bit disconcerting. Biggest flaw with this ship, and it's my biggest complaint, is that you'll see that there's the battery cover here. This is the battery cover that fits into the display stand. Did I bring the display stand with me? No, I didn't. How about that? Where'd it go? It'll turn up. The display stand here. I don't put them on the display stand. This actually does sit on the display stand when I display it, but the display stand here, there's no play battery cover, meaning that they did not include a second battery cover to put over this. So when you want to hold it or play around with it, you don't have this big nub here. And apparently, from what the boards, what they're complaining about on the Art Asylum boards, was that it was a production mistake that was just never rectified, and because it would cost way too much money to get a new battery cover set for it, they're not going to fix it, and for any future releases. So if you get an Enterprise-E, you're kind of stuck with this. I wish they would fix it, but truth be told, what I've done was I got a hold of a professional model maker, and he's going to make a custom battery cover for me. Well, not a custom. I have 2 of these, and I sent him one, and he's gonna do something to plug it up and over detail. And he's a professional model maker, and he'll make a custom battery cover for me. So I'll have a custom battery cover to go along with this. Not ideal, but what are you gonna do? Okay. And also, some of the paint, there's a few gaps here in the plastic. Right here. They don't show up on camera when you hold the ship up to a light. You can just really see the gaps for one. I really wish they hadn't done that. I'm getting on 9 minutes now. Okay. Some of the paint detailing's off. There should be lifeboats right here. They're not there. That's a production mistake. And there's strips right up here. As you can see on the bottom, they're painted down here, right there. But on top, they're not painted. I actually painted the phaser strips myself. Art Asylum will be re-releasing this year. So if you missed out on this, you want to get this, they will be re-releasing it for you. I don't know if they're going to fix some of the other production mistakes. We don't know. But if you missed it and you want to get one, this will be your chance. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I recommend you get this. If you like the Enterprise-E, it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. And, it's not a bad ship to get anyway. Okay, I'm going to get out of here before I lose time. So, all in all, good ship. Namaste.